to go crazy, Wolves fans. The debut of the Prince-inspired City Edition uniforms is happening this Saturday against the Denver Nuggets, and you can be there. Check out our contest page to see how you can win a pair of tickets to Saturday's game and be the first to experience the uniforms, the Prince-inspired court, and a whole lot more. That's KFAN.com. Keyword contest, enter today.
Couple 13-14 past, I'm Common. He's tending to be the legendary Mark Rosen joining us now.
Good afternoon.
Mavs fired their general manager today, Nico Harrison. But what's interesting is it was after a meeting with the team governor.
What?
I did not know teams had governors. Is that something just in Dallas with the Mavericks or to all teams? Because I've never in the entire history of my following sports, your whole life just sports, have ever heard of a team governor. Have you heard it?
I've heard it in some obscure context, but nothing that comes to mind. And if you're going to rattle off certainly any local team, I don't think we've had any governor involved sports other than Jesse.
No, I mean team.
I know what you mean. I don't. I have no idea what that. It's weird. I mean, you think of maybe a Canadian team or something have governors. I don't know what that.
Do they have lieutenant governors?
I don't know.
Do they have what is that? Something other pro temp? What the hell is that title? I mean, it was just weird. But
yeah, it's an odd title for a sports franchise. But Nico's gone.
I saw where Tenneby and I were just talking about this. The Twins. Mm-hmm. Story from Bobby Nightingale, the Fish Wrap Factory, kind of recapping how the Twins came upon Derek Shelton. They had a list of 80 people they thought could be candidates.
80?
How the Twins narrowed the list of manager candidates from 80 to 1 before hiring Derek Shelton. 80 people. And here's my question for you.
Okay.
Which number is larger? Number of candidates the Twins had narrowed it down to, or the number of people that would be in the stands on opening day at the Goose LA, the Golden Egg?
It's kind of a toss-up.
I think the 80 that were the managerial candidates.
I don't know if was Falvey flipping through all the media guides?
I did that joke earlier, yeah.
You did. I'm sure you did. But, I mean, you can do the math and figure out how many bench coaches there are in baseball, and every team's got X number of coaches on the team, and that's basically or former managers out of work when you're looking at the budget that I assume was available for their new manager and, the amount of money they wanted to spend on that person. But that's a little surprising. They go from 80 down to Derek Shelton. I mean, I have no idea what their criteria. How many people did they actually talk to?
They narrowed it down to 7 that they actually had for
interviews
Zoom
with
meetings, I guess. Yeah,
that makes sense. But, it's going to be, I mean, he came into town, and last week he was on a couple of shows here. He was on the Barrero. I think he did the Power Trip. Affable guy, great personality. He made the rounds.
Maybe he can be on your podcast.
Well, I'd love to have him on, but I mean, I think, and he's, he answered all the right questions about, the way he's acutely aware of what the ownership situation is, and then what his payroll is going to be, and everything else. So, I mean, I think it's kind of one of those things where he's got a honeymoon period right now, and baseball managers, and he knows this. He got fired in Pittsburgh. I mean, people will second guess him much the way that any other coach or manager in this town or any other town gets second guess, and that comes with the territory. He knows that better than anyone. But I think that we'll soon all realize that it's not Derek Shelton's team. He's making out the lineup card, but it goes obviously above that. And you just mentioned it. I mean, I don't, tongue firmly in cheek, or I think it was, how they're going to attract existing fans, to say nothing of new fans, to go out to the ballpark. I mean, you have to be a real baseball fan right now. And thankfully, we had an astonishing World Series, but the problem with that is it feels like you're watching a different sport when you're watching the level of competition between the Blue Jays and the Dodgers, the eventual champs, and what a series that was. And baseball does it better than anyone, I think, still.
The teams with the Dodgers, the largest payroll in Major League Baseball, Toronto, the 5th largest.
Yep.
Now, we've seen other teams without larger payroll sneak in there occasionally. So it's not like, I know everybody wants to believe that if you just have one of the highest payrolls in Major League Baseball, you'll win a World Series. It's not that simple. But yeah, you're right. It does seem like it's different from what we're experiencing here in many other markets.
And it's not even saying that, look at Milwaukee. Milwaukee had a terrific year. Unfortunately, they fell short in the postseason, but their payroll was not up there, I think, among the top 10 or 15 even. But they certainly satisfied their fan base, and hopefully they will continue to do so. But here, it's not even that kind of a situation. We're going, well, we understand the limitations compared to some of the bigger markets, but the Twins aren't even really trying to be competitive. I mean, if they trade Joe Ryan this offseason, I would just be shaking my head, and I'm saying in disbelief is the wrong word. Contempt is the only word I can come up with. Because he's one of two guys, along with Pablo Lopez, that they have. They know opening day. I guess you can throw in Bailey Ober and maybe a couple other guys, but that are established enough that they give him a fighting chance to win a game anytime he goes on the mound. I hate to think that they're going to be trying to go down that road with prospects again when they are in such dire need of pitching, knowing how shallow their relief staff is at the moment. So, there'll always be guys that are going to step up, and spring training always, spring. I hope spring's eternal, and there'll be a couple of guys that we haven't heard of that may shine in spring training, and we'll get excited about, and names that we've heard kind of down the grapevine.
You'll get excited.
I'm not.
And then
quite
you'll convince me to be excited about it, like everybody else.
I think those days are kind of over for me. I just don't find. I have fun.
You're not buying their bill of goods anymore.
Well, I can get excited about saying, I understand that when they drafted Walker Jenkins, I keep talking about him much the way I talked about Alex Tuck. Because
you watched Walker Jenkins during his entire collegiate career.
I did not, but I thought when they drafted him, and now the Twins have. Geez, we get to wait till June. I think they have the second overall pick again. Well, here we go again. Oh, great! They have a terrific farm system, ranked second in Major League Baseball. Well, a lot of those guys better play because there are other teams that play 20, 21-year-olds, and they that let them. We're watching the evolution right now of a young quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings who's at 22 is getting his baptism. I don't understand how, when the Twins don't have veterans to call on, they don't have a Carson Wentz to lean on, they don't have another. They have to play some of these guys. I don't understand how you can't let them try to figure it out. Now, we've seen guys go through the system, and I think of Jose Miranda. He set the record for most consecutive hits. I think 11 or 12, whatever it was. He's not even on the team anymore. They outright cut him. That's how bad things got. So I don't know if it's a question of that his confidence just got shot. If you'll be able to catch on with another team, if you'll be able to rediscover his swing and what he did really well for quite a while. But these stories are too many, and the Twins can't afford to have literally swings and misses with some of these players because they don't have another recourse. They're not going to go out and sign a free agent of note. This is who they are, and from a marketing standpoint, so the manager is just, honestly, Derek Shelton's a very likable guy, but so is Rocco Baldelli, and so is Paul Molitor. I just don't know when you're one hand.
And so were the other 79 guys candidates that they had on their list that they called down to.
Yeah, I don't. Hey, he's a good guy. Well, great. There's the phone call you've been waiting for.
Might be Derek Shelton calling me, or maybe it's the Twins asking me if I'd like to interview for
a bench job, or
a governor's position in the NBA.
Yeah, that's an interesting name. The governor.
Well, it's a number of people have texted me to say that it's because players don't want to be owned. It's a racial thing.
Really?
That's what it's a number.
As opposed to the governor being,
that's what a number of people have said.
President of the team? Because, Mark Cuban was the owner for a while, and then he sold his. All
I know is that's what a number of people
I don't know how many teams.
The NBA now calls owners governors because the players do not want to be felt like they are owned.
Oh, okay. It's the first time I've heard that.
I did too. I'd never even heard that before.
I've not. And, so be it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it's a managerial job, so you take it, right?
Yeah,
there's only 30 of them in sports, and it pays well even on the Twins. I'm sure it's decent money. It's better than walking around money. But yeah, you're up against it, and I would guess every candidate that was interviewed, they know what they were getting into.
Well, Derek in particular does, because he worked here. I mean, he understands the dynamics and what goes on behind closed doors, and I'm sure, like he even said, I think on one of the interviews that, my conversations, whether it was with Falvey and or one of the poll ads, will remain private. I'm sure he asked all the right questions. What are your expectations of me? Because Rocco's a really good friend of mine, and look what happened to him. And again, any of these managers are open to second guessing, and that's the nature, especially in baseball, where it's so easy. We don't have to wait, as they say in the NFL, to look at the film to understand what goes on in a baseball game. For the most part, there are a lot of nuances about how Ryan Jeffers might be calling a game with so and so on the mound, calling for the wrong pitch. I think John Smoltz. I think he's one of the best color guys in all of sports. I think he was phenomenal during the World Series, the way he explained things. You can have a guy like that can break things down, but for the most part, what you see is what you get, and what we have is pretty well known.
They said part of the interview process was simulated games. They would ask the managerial candidates, what would you do here? And if they were to be realistic, Falvey probably said to Shelton, look, you're down 9-2 in the fifth. How do you plan to use the bullpen?
Are you going to use one of your position players out there?
Right. They're going to be realistic about the game situations. That's what they have to do.
Boy, it'd be nice to look forward to a baseball season again.
Your Wolves club, all they do is win. They've won 5 of the last 6. Yeah. I'm now thinking second seed in the West will be too low. I think they could
please.
be. I'm telling you, that team's. What? Can't you? Aren't you excited? You're wearing your Timberwolves jacket.
I know, but they're beating up on.
Well,
teams.
We'll talk about it on the other side of the break. We'll break. We'll come back.
Correct.
We got more to get to here on the Common Man program on the Fan.
And 2 men on a junk truck want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Just enter the keyword grand at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. That keyword is grand. Enter it now at KFAN.com. We all remember that one teacher who made a difference, who believed in us, challenged us, or just made learning fun. Now's your chance to say thank you in a big way with iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Shoes. Nominated outstanding public school teacher who's gone above and beyond for their students to win $5,000 to stock their classroom with whatever they need. Help us say thank you to the educators shaping our future. Nominate your favorite teacher now at iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
Ant goes off for 35. Wolves win. They beat the Jazz. That's 5 of the last 6, I think.
Right.
I don't know. Is every game now a Commissioner's Cup game?
No.
Okay. So
I can't keep track. I have to literally have to look at the schedule to figure it out. Okay. I think Friday night's game back here
is a Commissioner's Cup game.
When they paint whatever they do to the floor to turn it into the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
No, last night's was not. It goes on for a while too. I mean, I don't pretend to try to follow it or care that much about it. I think it's more of a players thing, and it's just an incentive to make a few more bucks. That's about it. But I mean, you hear Jaden McDaniels say, "I want to get to Vegas. I want to get some of that coin." I mean, that's fine. But last night, Utah had like 3 days to prepare for the Wolves, and they got thrashed by Minnesota here Friday night, and the Wolves were coming off a back-to-back, and they kind of toyed around with them in the first half, and then they put the pedal down. And their starting 5 continues to look excellent. Everyone on that team, and that starting 5 at the moment.
You like this club, don't you?
Well, I think they still have some problems
You do?
they
won 5 of the last 6. Where are the problems?
I'm just saying, going forward, when they play the really good teams, I'm still like to see Rob Dillingham. He only played 4 minutes last night. Get into the flow of the game a little bit.
What if I were to tell you Dillingham's going to be a bust?
He might be. I mean, he's only 20 years old, but I hate to think that he's going to, but he has to adapt to, and he's admitted it, to kind of the style that the Wolves want from him, and he certainly has a certain skill set, but Conley, in the meantime, the KG veteran, is playing most of the minutes in reserve coming off the bench, and he played well last night, got 18 minutes. But Randall's playing outstanding. He's playing, Jade McDaniels, I think, is playing the best basketball of his career. Gobert is he scored 14 last night and had 12 rebounds, and they're just a different team. When he's on the court, their defensive presence is leaps and bounds when he's not, and it's pretty obvious. DiVincenzo's, had 14 in the course of an Ant, healthy again, feeling his oats and doing things. He's going to throw in there 30 to 35 pretty much every game, and did so again last night. So they pulled away, kind of comfortably at the end, and that's what good teams do. And sitting at 7-4, and on we go to Sacramento, and I think the Denver Nuggets are here. A very good team, but one that the Wolves have managed to win the vast majority of against during their time here.
Our next Commissioner Cup game is Friday versus Sac.
Yeah, that's what I think I just said. Yeah.
Yep, and then they play the following Friday.
Oh, do they? All right.
Against the Suns, and obviously I'm guessing
how long does this go on?
The one that's going to be getting through the pool will be they got OKC in their pool, so that's going to be the dicey one.
That's going to be at the deep end of that pool,
and we play them.
Yep.
Day before Thanksgiving, November 26th.
Where's that
at OKC?
Oh, okay. Well, look forward to that. I don't know. Again, no one really when this thing is over with, no one's going, geez, I'm getting ready for the postseason, but let's talk about that NBA Cup and how successful it was. I mean, it's just another gimmick that pro sports tries to throw in there to maybe add a little interest to the players and maybe to the fans. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy watching them. I had the game on after watching that defensive struggle, I guess you could say, between the Packers and the Eagles last night. Man. I don't know what Green Bay, it's 2 in a row at home. Obviously, the Eagles are a very tough team to play against, but after blowing the game and losing the game to Carolina, things are getting a little shaky in Green Bay a little bit now with Jordan Love.
Through 5 games this season, Victor Wembanyama produced 151 points, 73 rebounds, 17 assists, 7 steals, and 24 blocks. The only player to exceed those numbers over any 5-game span, Hakeem Olajuwon.
That's pretty good company.
Would you trade Ant for Wembanyama?
I'm going to answer your question again, and the same thing. The one thing that would hold me back from saying that's a obviously Wemby's should be a galaxy amongst himself. I get concerned about. I hope he can stay healthy. That's all I'm saying. Is that the tendency sometimes with those guys, especially when you're playing the full court as Wemby does, and he's very young. And
did you see him win the game last night? Did you see him wave off? Everybody's like,
I got this.
Well,
he's a unique player to say the least.
Call him a unicorn, Mark.
He's a unicorn, and San Antonio's got a really good team. I mean, it's fun to watch. Kind of some new blood and what's going on in the NBA. The Detroit Pistons, after being the bottom of the barrel for how long? Cunningham is having an MVP type start to his season, and it's great to see Detroit, another Detroit team, having success. First the Tigers, obviously the Lions, and now it's the Pistons.
Oh, the Pistons!
Pistons are in first place.
Oh, are they?
In the East?
Oh,
yeah, they get the best record in the East.
Good for them.
Wait, what? Detroit? Yeah, Detroit.
That'll last.
They've been the bottom feeders for a long time. But I mean, Ant's going to put up. I mean, you could tell Ant has refined his game, and now he's getting healthy. He's going to be. He's almost, I'm saying this, he's unstoppable in a lot of ways. And so they're just much different players. But Wemby is he is a unicorn. But my only concern about him is, again, staying on the court.
So you would not make this trade?
Well, I mean,
if you want to know, you can say a lot.
No, I said I know. I said I would stick with Ant.
There's a handful of people.
But I'm not going to sit there and go, oh my God, wouldn't want to have Wemby for Ant. I mean, Wemby in likelihood it could be a generational type player, but I think Ant in his position right now, and he's still 23 years old. I think his next 4 years are going to be astonishing. I mean, he's so. I think he's on a mission to prove that he is one of the best in the league, time and time again. And if he can stay healthy, I think he's got more of an opportunity to be more durable. I know he missed some games. But overall, I think he's just a more durable player than Wemby.
Now, somebody, I don't do social media, so I don't know, but someone says, can you ask Rosen how it feels to get schooled on social media by PA?
He didn't school me.
He didn't?
No.
What is this all about?
I'll tell you what it's about.
Oh.
I don't know what it's about.
I'll tell you what it's about.
Juicy.
I heard PA's interview with KOC today, and I was driving to my stretch class. Stretch lab, by the way.
Hard-hitting Mike Wallace-like questions?
Yeah. And so he's hung up on this whole thing right now about rookie quarterbacks who had minuscule numbers early in their career. What Josh Allen's numbers were, what so-and-so's numbers were. And so he mentioned, this is the second time I've heard him say this, and it's just a fun little back and forth. He mentioned Fran Tarkenton again. Fran's first 4 starts were da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. They weren't impressive. The Vikings were an expansion team. They were a god-awful football team. But what he's forgetting to say, as a caveat, what he should have started out by saying is, oh, by the way, Fran Tarkenton came off the bench in that first game against the Bears and threw 4 touchdown passes, ran for another, and did not throw an interception, and led the Vikings to one of the most historic upsets in NFL history. Then he can go, oh, his next 4 starts, not so good. But it's as if that didn't happen. It's as if to say Kirby Puckett made it to Anaheim for his first game, didn't start the game against the California Angels, came off the bench and hit 3 home runs. And then you go on, then the next 5 games, he had a slump. But we're going to discount that. You can't, all I'm saying is throw the caveat in. If you're going to talk about Fran Tarkenton's first 4 games, mention the fact he had 4 touchdown passes. That's all I'm saying.
Tennessee, can you find PA soundbite of take that?
Yeah,
because that's what I'd like to say to, basically Rosen is saying to PA.
First, we should have played this open.
Twitter.
Yeah, a little bit.
Hey, listen, it's better than most of the crap we see.
Yeah, take that.
Take that. Most of the crap we see on Twitter. No, it was just a fun going back and forth. But he also said Fran played in 4 Super Bowls. I had to call Nordo and say, would you please tell PA that Fran played in 3?
Yeah.
Joe Cat, he goes, I know, we've told him. That's all it was. But I'm just saying, it's so easy to go, well, yeah, Fran had 4 with wide receivers that were that couldn't catch a cold.
PA is in protection mode.
Well, that's fine. But just
because he knows that there are a lot of people out there that are questioning the decision to draft McCarthy and not keep Darnold and not keep.
You can have that
I'm just
discussion.
saying. But I'm saying that's what this is all about, and he wants to remind people. And what he's saying, other than the Tarkenton thing, is basically true. You got to give him some time, guys.
I agree with
that, and I think we all do.
Yeah, I haven't disagreed with any of that.
That's not to say, hey, it took Josh Allen a while, so J.J. McCarthy's the next Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Let's not. We can't say that either.
No.
We'll find what he could end up being. Somebody sent me an email that talked about how 49ers gave up on Trey Lance. He was supposed to be really good. Was it Richardson with the Colts? I mean, these were guys that you finally had to just give up on. So,
well, I'd rather talk about the Vikings running the ball, but that's just me.
Well, let's talk about that. Everybody seems to want to jump on the running the ball bandwagon. I'm not so sure I want to do that, but we'll do that here on the other side of the break as the Common Man program with Common 10B and Mark Rosen here on The Fan.
Yes! Take that!
KFAN and the Vikings are teaming up for Toys for Tots. Join us live at Shields in Eden Prairie on Tuesday, December 2nd from 5:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. for our annual broadcast presented by Unreal. Bring a toy, spread some joy, and if you're one of the first 50 donors each show, you'll score a sweet KFAN Unreal Winter beanie. Details at KFAN.com/toys.
What's the name of the place again?
That'd be Toys for Tots, Shields, Eden Prairie, Tuesday, December 2nd. 5:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m.
It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that. Let me guess, we'll be interviewing Brian O'Neill.
Him or T.J. Hawkinson.
You or T.J. Hawkinson.
Yeah.
Always the same.
Always get the same. Well, you don't have to laugh at us.
I'm not laughing at you. It's just the way you said it.
I thought you were
like you're
laughing.
disappointed.
Well, no, I'm really not disappointed. It's just that we get the same guests all the time. And that's okay, because we do I'm tight with, I call him Bry.
Bry? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even call him Brian anymore. I call him Bry.
Right, that's good.
And then I had to tell Hawkinson, I kept calling him Hawkenfuss because of Walkenfuss, who played for the Detroit Tigers. Correct. So I kept saying Hawkenfuss, and I finally stopped because I finally figured out his name's not. And what's all the fuss? Hey-o! It's Hawkinson.
It is. Correct.
Here's the other thing too: is it's okay to make comparisons. Do the old, Peyton Manning and Josh Allen. How were they in their first 4 starts? But then if you're going to do that, why don't you talk about Josh Rosen and Johnny Manziel and Zach Wilson?
Look
at their first
There's always
starts.
explanations on each, examples on each
that's
side.
it.
There always is.
I mean, there are literally hundreds of other top 10 quarterback flops. They're everywhere. So just all of a sudden always bring up because Josh Allen and Peyton Manning had tough starts to their career and blossomed into Allen's not in the Hall.
A lot of guys never blossom into anything.
Well, that's it. And so and McCarthy could be one or the other or somewhere in between. Right. So that's why it's just a protection thing. It's because there are a lot of fans that, and look, here's what I'll tell you. I don't mind drafting a franchise quarterback. I think you should always try to do that. But if you do that and you do what you did with the team, and this is what they did, they went out and refurbished the middle of the defensive line and the offense. You don't do that unless you are thinking we're building on a 13-4 season or whatever they were. And that's what they were trying to do. And what they decided to do, they said, yeah, we can keep Darnold, but that's $100 million. Right. I can coach this kid up. We can get him up and running because I know how to coach quarterbacks. Kid's got a lot of talent, and we can take that money and rebuild the offensive and defensive lines. We can do a competitive rebuild. So far, that plan has failed, and it's failed miserably. Now, he was out for 5 weeks. That's 5 more weeks he would have been able to play, and maybe he would have sped along maybe he would be a lot further along, and maybe he would be playing real well. We don't know that. So, and no one, I'm not suggesting they cut the guy and fire the coach. All we're saying is you had your choices to make, and your choice was to go with the young kid now. In Green Bay, they kept playing Rodgers for a couple of years after drafting Love. We did not want to do that, and that's fine. But so for some people to question that, with where we are, 4-5 and dead last in the North, coming off 13-4, it's not criminal to suggest that. You don't have to rally to the coach's defense or the general manager's defense. We're going to play this thing out. I don't think anybody, at least I'm not ready to make any definitive decision on was McCarthy the right choice or not. We still have to see, but you can weigh in and go, wow, I was kind of hoping we'd build off last year's, great, that was a great season last year.
It was a fun season. They won a lot of one-score games, and had they kept Darnold for the price he was asking for and what the Vikings would have had to pay, they wouldn't have had probably 3 of the players that are on this team right now. And you can make that argument. Every team, every franchise.
Well, one of those guys would be the center, and we haven't had him on the team anyways.
He has not.
And the 2 defensive guys weren't any good anyways.
Hargrave and Allen.
Isn't Hargrave? Did he have one good game 2 games ago? Was he? Really good?
He was good last game.
Yeah, last game.
Yeah, he had a good game.
Okay, so he was good last game.
Detroit.
But other than that, the guys we spent the money on didn't do diddly. Sorry. Yeah. So we could have had Darnold. $100 million for Darnold for 3 years is chump change. And for an MVP candidate, that team is in first place right now. And
you just have to look at every team that has philosophical ways of going about their business. I mean, the Colts went a different way. With getting Danny Jones, who was also on this roster. Let's not forget that. Jones knew he had a better chance. I want to start now. And Anthony Richardson was hurt and he was ineffective, and he knew going to Indianapolis was going to be a much better situation for him, as opposed to coming here and always looking over his shoulder and wondering even if McCarthy's hurt, I'm going to start, and maybe he would have been a situation much the way that would happen with Darnold last year. But we knew early in the year, obviously, almost right away, that McCarthy wasn't going to play. There are bigger issues there with this team right now, too. I mean, the turnovers, which McCarthy can be responsible for at times as well, as we saw, were bad, but not as embarrassing as the false start penalties and the pre-snap penalties that have plagued this team, which is mind-boggling at home. I mean, they played so well in Detroit, and if you look at that game, that was last time I looked was just a little over a week and a half ago, and how that team thought was going to parlay that into a grinded out kind of game against a very disciplined, improved. I still think they're a Super Bowl caliber type of Baltimore Ravens team that's going to play it close to the vest on the road, but you can't have those kind of penalties at home and turn the ball over 3 times and win a football game. That's the one defining statistic, that game in, game out. If you lose that turnover battle, and the Vikings have 3 interceptions this year. 3. I think they led the league in interceptions last year.
What's stuck in your craws, you don't think we're running the ball like you almost sounded bitter and angry about it.
Well, I just think it's puzzling at times.
You're questioning the head coach.
They were they were gashing the Ravens
He's
at times.
coach of the year, Mark. Well, he is, and now you're questioning the coach of the year.
Yeah, I guess I am. And I just think there are opportunities, and a lot of 3rd and 2. They've become predictable in the fact that they throw the ball almost every single time. They're not 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. They almost inevitably throw the football, which is great if you're Patrick Mahomes and if you got receivers that can make those. You can make those easy throws, 5-yard outs or whatever it might be, and just move the sticks. But when you're not doing that, and you're able to run the ball pretty effectively, and I don't question. I will make it very clear: the 3rd and 1, they threw that long ball that Jefferson got tripped up on, and they got intercepted. And I don't have a problem with that. I think once in a while you got to take your shot like that, and if you got one-on-one coverage and you get the number 1 receiver. In theory, in the NFL, once in a while, there's nothing wrong with that because he catches that ball and he walks into the end zone. No one's questioning that they should have run the ball in that play. I certainly wasn't even questioning it at that time. I think there are other instances where they can and should have run the ball and just be a little more consistent.
They could have run that ball in that 3rd.
They could have. No, they could have. But I'd say I don't have a problem.
Did you
with
see
the
how
idea.
many times the Ravens ran the ball? They just kept running the ball, and they had no success early, and they kept running and they finally wore the Vikings down a little bit.
It's what the Eagles do so well. Again, last night we saw it against the Vikings, and all of a sudden Jalen Hurts goes back and hits someone for one of his Smith, whatever, for a touchdown. This is what he's really good at. The Eagles look like they can be had. It seems like game in, game out. They're just kind of hanging around, but they just never panic. They know what they're doing. They're disciplined, to the nth degree on defense. They don't make mistakes. And even when Hurts had an early turnover in that game, Green Bay couldn't really take advantage of it. So,
how about this one? Rosie's wrong. We don't have other issues on this team. The QB is the issue. If we had a serviceable QB, we'd be 6-3 right now. That's what this text message. How would you respond to that?
I'm trying to think of all.
Mine would be first. We don't know that for sure. But
yeah, I don't think you would. I mean, serviceable. I mean, you need a better quarterback. I think the Atlanta game, they came back home. I thought the defense was terrible that game. Atlanta ran right through them, and the Vikings didn't do a lot offensively. But I don't know what to say other than the fact that if you make the philosophical decision that you're going to let your young quarterback, kind of grow into this job, and then he got hurt in that game, which set him back even more, as you mentioned. They tried Carson Wentz. They weren't having a lot of success. He got beat up behind a banged up offensive line.
Wentz played okay for what he's. He was all right. He won a couple of games.
Yeah, he did.
He helped win a couple of games. You can rip him all you want. He's certainly not.
I'm not ripping him.
I meant people in general. You can rip him all you want, and he's. Carson Wentz is who we thought he was, and he played okay in parts, and he was awful in other parts.
But again, I mentioned the 3 interceptions, and it'd be nice once in a while if the Vikings defense could shorten that field for J.J. McCarthy, and we just haven't been seeing that, which is a hallmark for any good team. You got to win that turnover battle, and the Vikings have not been getting the turnovers.
How about this from Jeff in Monticello? The bad passes and false starts could all be chalked up to part of the game. But Justin Jefferson's body language and lack of effort chasing down defenders that intercepted the ball and not acting like a captain seems like a bigger issue to me. Keep up the good work.
I think
there was the one interception where he just stood there.
But the one interception, he touched him and he was down.
That's one.
Yeah, that was the one.
Not the other one.
Yeah, the other one, he was lollygagging. It looked like he pulled a Moss. I don't know.
Do you think he's becoming disinterested? Do you think he's thinking to himself?
I think he's frustrated.
Okay.
I think he's frustrated because he's had a couple of balls. You could see his body language almost. If he runs his route and the ball sails 3 feet over his head, he's not going to be happy. He's got a lot of pride. He wants to be the best, and those completions should be.
Yeah, who was the guy that played one game for us and overthrew all the wide receivers? Remember, he came for one game?
Josh Freeman.
He's thrown Josh Freeman like balls.
He has.
To Allen. I mean, he threw 4 or 5 of those this last game. I mean, Josh Freeman throws. I mean, they were. You could have been Wembanyama at 7'5" and you wouldn't have caught those passes.
Well, that's unusual because you watch the beginning of the game, the Vikings stopped 3 and out for the Ravens, and they get the ball, and he threw an absolute dime to Naylor. That was a beautiful pass, the 60-yard pass to Naylor right down the sidelines, laid it right in his arms. Vikings go in and score an easy touchdown by running the football, and that was kind of the highlight of their offensive production. And then they ran into a series of false starts and spits and starts, and they got behind the chains and made it more difficult. McCarthy made it more difficult for himself by by all those penalties.
You listened to the head coach today?
I
PA?
did.
Then tell me if this is true. This one says KOC as much as said today that virtually all the false starts are on the quarterback.
Yeah,
they were on his cadence. So if he can't even get the cadence right, how far behind schedule is he? I mean, you think you'd have the cadence figured out.
Well, I think that's, I don't know, what we have here is a failure to communicate, using that famous movie line. You straighten that stuff out in a hurry. I've just never seen, I don't know what they did, and I didn't really got an explanation from KOC. How did that happen? Was he tapping his helmet? And O'Neal, I mean, it wasn't like the crowd was affecting it. It's quiet. I mean, they get the ball on offense. I've never seen 8 false starts penalties on offense. And they were just, someone said, well, did the Ravens throw them off? And even KOC said no. I mean, like they were barking out signals or something, which is illegal. But I don't think that was the case at all. At least KOC didn't, say, well, yeah, we got it on tape and we showed it to the league, blah, blah, blah. That was not the case. So, yeah, I mean, that's another case of, if that's on McCarthy, then, yeah, you better get damn straightened out against the Bears on Sunday. I don't know, they didn't have that problem in Detroit. In a hostile environment where the noise is so loud, they didn't have the problems running. That's what's so mystifying about it, because it wasn't like, oh boy, this is a trend. McCarthy's a quarterback and the Vikings still continue to have all these. No, it wasn't a problem at all in Detroit. But they come home and they have it as a problem. Yeah, it was almost comical. Like, wait, another whistle?
Warren, quickly, you don't have a lot of time.
Oh boy. Woody.
Warren.
You guys, and they don't bring up all the good quarterbacks in the last few years that have brought their teams either to the playoffs and played well in their first year. I do have some news for you. Common, you must have really good intuition, but you got about the wrong guy going to Chicago. From a good source, I heard Paul Allen's going to be going to the Cubs and do the Harry Carey type work with the Chicago Cubs. And wow. I think it's a pretty accurate thing. And if that's the case, and I believe it's true, I think that we'll be missing him a lot. He's good at what he does.
Thanks, I appreciate that. Paul Allen will be taking over as the play-by-play voice of the Chicago Cubs. What if it's true? What if Warren's got a connection? He would fit. PA's got that kind of...
Warren's smoking some funny stuff.
I don't know. PA's got that kind of personality.
He's not a baseball guy.
Well, but that doesn't matter. I'm not a hockey guy, but if the money's right, I'd love hockey. I'd call cornhole world championships if the money's right, wouldn't you?
Of course.
I mean, come on.
I can't believe Warren didn't bring up some obscure offensive linemen.
Speaking of the Lions, did you see how good that offense was?
Of course. I said they're the best team in the not in the NFC. They're the best team in the NFC North. They're not the best team. The Rams are.
A handful of weeks ago, you said the window was closed on Detroit.
Well, I said that. I recanted that.
The Lions ranked second among all teams in play action rate in Week 18. Detroit's explosive play rate, which is runs of at least 12 yards of completion, of at least 16 of 16.2%, ranked fourth among teams, second highest all season. This is from last week's game. Mm-hmm. A whopping 32.4% of the Lions' 68 play Sunday went for 10 or more yards, the highest rate of the season and the highest rate in Week 10. Detroit recorded a season-best offensive success rate of 56.5% versus the Commanders. The Lions recorded an EPA/play of 0.46 versus the Commanders, the highest mark in a single game by a team this season, meaning all teams in football. The Lions' pressure rate of 25.7% was the second lowest allowed of any team so far in Week 10, and Goff wasn't sacked. Only 9.1% of Detroit's rushing attempts went for 0 or negative yards, second lowest of the season. The Lions converted 50% of their third down attempts, tied for the highest mark of the season. Detroit's 12 personnel rate of 18.5% was second lowest of the season. The list goes on and on. That's an offense that runs like a well-oiled machine.
Okay, let's see him do it again this Sunday night. And then I'll say, you know what, man, this is unstoppable. You know they play Sunday night?
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see how they do Sunday night. The Commanders are 3-7 without their starting quarterback. And they're not a good football team right now. I'm not taking, listen, I'm the one who's been pumping up the Lions, but we'll see if they can do that on Sunday night against the Eagles in Philadelphia.
The Vikings were playing a 3-5 Ravens club.
Come on.
Do you know who the Vikings have beat this year? Browns, Bengals, and the
I understand.
and the Bears.
I'm not defending. The Bears haven't beaten anybody either.
Yeah.
And the Packers.
Well, okay. Well, then
the schedule isn't. I
you can
understand
downplay
that.
the Kitties all you want, but the roar has been restored.
I'm the one who told you that they were. I think the best
You
two teams.
told me at the beginning the window was shut.
I think there was.
You were just bitter. They were playing well. Your Vikings were struggling. You were bitter.
I said that before the season started. I still think it goes Rams and then Lions right now as far as the two best teams in the NFC.
I think this Lions team might be the best team ever assembled.
Okay.
I just like saying it. I don't believe a word of it. We'll probably get destroyed by Philadelphia because it is at their
won't
place.
Get destroyed.
They could because that is a really good defense.
They don't destroy people. They just manage to beat
That's
you
a
in submission.
really, really good defense over there.
Oh, it is. That was
good
fun.
to see you. It's today.
Thanks for,
Tuesday? You'll be back tomorrow, right?
Yeah, helping out on the podcast.
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
Had a lot of fun yesterday.
We laughed and we cried.
Yes, we did.
We
Thank
can
you.
find that podcast on the iHeartRadio app.
Yep.
We'll see you tomorrow at 2:00.
Yes, sir.
Tenneby, thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
You as well. We enjoyed a visit with you today, as we always do. We're back tomorrow at 12 noon. A rock talk tomorrow, too. A big ticket, JG, there next year on the Fan.
Good night, folks. And good night, Mrs. Calabash. Wherever you are.
You like that? You like that?
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.